Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Stacks888, and today we got Augustin Siel here today. Augustine,
What's
introduce
up,
yourself for the people that don't know you out there.
guys? I'm Augustin Siel. I'm a nobody, but no, for real. Hey, CQIF, February 1st at the OCC Arena. Tune in, millions co-pay-per-view. But yeah, I'm 0-2 in boxing, 1-0 in MMA, and looking forward to my next fight. We'll see whenever that is.
All right. Have you confirmed an opponent for that?
I had two confirmed opponents. So I was gonna fight Chapel, and then he pulled out. I was gonna fight Juan, and then he went and ruined his life once again. So we're looking at other opponents, but those were gonna be the two ones.
Yeah, that Juan fight, I really wanted it because y'all were going back and forth, and then I found out some stuff that he did in the past, and I wanted you honestly fuck him up. Like,
I just might have to. I just might have to. We'll see what the community wants. I mean, I know they voted to see me fight Juan, but that was before this most recent fuck up. So
yeah.
we'll see. We'll test the waters in the next few weeks.
All right. So your first ever fight, if I'm not wrong, was boxing for Vigilant, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Julian De La Rosa.
yeah. And he was he a content creator or not?
No, so that was just an amateur
Amateur
fight.
boxing.
He had a good team around him. Shout out to Bomb Squad, and he's a Tampa local. So yeah, I went in there 3 rounds, 12-ounce gloves, and when all 3 rounds went the distance with him. And it was a good fight.
Yeah, man. I rewatched that fight after the CQIF one because I saw that you boxed before and I checked it out. You did pretty good, and for a like people say, people
Yeah,
always underestimate content creators, but hey, man, we work just as hard. So,
yeah. I would say I didn't do good, great on the offensive side, but I took the punches.
yeah,
And that's at
showed
least what
hard.
you got to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
So, what made you want to transition into MMA after that?
Well, look, man, I've been watching UFC my whole life. Me and my dad used to buy the pay-per-views, and it's always been something I wanted to do. And I got the opportunity with Vigilant MMA, and I saw, a good opponent in Trey, and you
Yeah.
know, he needed a fight, and I said, yeah, let's not do boxing. That's no credit at all to me. So let's take it to the octagon. Let's go to his sport of wrestling. He's been doing it his whole life, and I managed to out wrestle him and choke him damn near to death.
Yeah, yeah, I remember seeing that, and I was like, damn. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, because at the weigh-ins, Trey was talking to me how he had the wrestling background and everything, and then I was like, you know what? If I had to put my money on anything, I might put it on Trey. So if anything, I gave him 51%, you 49%. And then when I heard you, I was like, heard that you won. I was like, you know what? Good shit. In the fashion you did
Appreciate
it,
it.
I was like, yes, sir.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, he's got an excellent wrestling pedigree. Going back his entire life, and so it was certainly a challenge. And I want those fights that give me credit for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And then, okay, for your previous fight that just happened against Pat Type Pollution, what made you want to go after breakout boxing and try to take out the man up top?
Well, look, man, like I said, I love these big fights, fights that get people to want to watch them. And, you got to go for the big fish. And the big fish at that point was breakout boxing. And I knew that, with me having my promotion, CQIF, and Pat having his promotion of breakout boxing, it would just be a masterclass, and it would really do numbers, which it definitely has.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, we definitely set the standard for promo in this scene with the shit talking, with everything, the content making, and I really just wanted the fight to be able to take out the Mount Rushmore of SCB fighters. I took out Trey, and Pat was going to be next, but obviously everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, yeah. So you just said the Mount Rushmore. Who are the four people that you would put up there? You obviously said Trey and Pat. Who are the other two?
Yeah. Well, if it's in my weight class, I would say we would say Dennis Bell is on there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Pat, Trey, and then that's all that's at my weight class, but I would put Lesnar on there as
Yeah,
well.
Lesbian definitely. Cause my introduction into the scene, cause I just wanted a fight and then Misfits was happening, so I was making training videos on myself, training for Misfits and stuff, and then CFO obviously came out. I was posting videos trying to get on there, and at the time I had no idea what breakout boxing was or anything. I didn't know the SCB scene was a thing at all. But then I just saw Lesra dick riding Jake Paul, and I called him out, and I shit talked him until he finally started responding, and then he was like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and then Blaze hit me up because uh, his opponent pulled out, and even
Yeah.
though I was able to fight Blaze, I'm thankful for him because without him, I would not have got my introduction into this scene.
Yeah, and we were glad to have you, man. You certainly showed out against a really game opponent, and you made a name for yourself, man. And Vigilant is super proud of you, bro, for sure.
Yeah, man, because I remember praying and telling myself if I even got the opportunity, I'm promoting everything, I'm fighting with everything I got. And that's exactly what
Yep,
I did, man. So,
absolutely. I 100% agree. You gave it your all, for sure.
so one question I got from your background, did you ever have any martial arts background in anything? Were you like a fighter in school or anything? Or was this just out of the blue one day? You were like, I want to do this.
Yeah, no, I never got in a fight until my first sparring match, you know. So I started boxing when I was 23, so
Mm,
pretty late in life. That was 3 years ago, and yeah, it was. I definitely just caught the bug. I got my ass whooped in my first sparring session, but I caught the bug nonetheless. And really, one of the catalysts for getting me into boxing was watching Jake Paul
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
decimate Tyron Woodley. I was one of only 65,000 people purchased that pay per view, and I'm lucky I did because it changed my life.
Yeah, yeah. I watched the fight, but not gonna lie, it wasn't pay per view. Yeah, I didn't watch it pay per view. Sorry, Jake. No, like I'm not even a Jake Paul fan like that. If anything, I would say I'm more leaning towards KSI side, but I remember defending Jake to my whole group chat because they're like, bro, he's not a real fighter, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what's a real fighter? He trains like a pro, he fights
Yeah,
pro, he has a pro card, and even till this day, like, I had to defend Jake because they're like, the Mike Tyson fight after Jake won, they're like, nah, this is rigged. This is rigged. I was like, because I
yeah.
predicted it.
The thing about these people saying that big fights like this are rigged or that Jake Paul's fights are rigged, the people who say that have never done anything interesting or great or awesome in their life, and so they would never believe that anything like that would be able to be possible. It's really people projecting, saying how little they are, man. But yeah, some of us actually do cool shit. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. So, what do you like? What do you see yourself getting from SCB? Do you plan? Are you striving to go to Misfits? Are you striving just growing this community? What do you want from this?
My main goal, if we're not talking about fights, is really outside the ring, is to just make the biggest impact I can. Like I just want to change as many lives as I can, make as many fights happen, and just do big events and do important things. I want to be of value to the scene. I want to give back to this scene that's given me so much. This scene has been a bubble for me that I can put myself into when life is shitty. I can escape into SCB and
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
be Augustin Siel. It's an incredible feeling, and I owe SCB my life. And so everything I can do, whether it's helping get main card versus Little Joey on CFL, or whether it's putting people like you up on CQIF, you know, it's that's really what I want, you know.
Right. So let's go back to the MMA side of things. When you told Trey that you wanted MMA, did it have anything to do with Mams Taylor tweeting about wanting MMA on Misfits, or was that just a coincidence that both of these things happened around the same time?
Well, I certainly saw the vision, as Mams did, that influencer MMA is next. It's going to be enormous. It's going to be UFC style. And so it was definitely a direction I wanted to go in. But I also train at an MMA gym, American Top Team, as well as I have a boxing gym as well.
Yeah, yeah,
But I have always loved to kick, you know, and I just wanted to do it so bad. And I found the perfect opponent in Trey. He would give me the most credibility and big name for sure. And I knew we would put on an entertaining event.
yeah,
But to go back to your question, it wasn't specifically because I saw Mam's tweet, but I think he saw the same vision that I did. That this is what's next, and people are going to, like it or not, they're going to get a bit bored of this whole boxing thing
yeah, yeah,
eventually. And influencer MMA is next, and it's going to be real exciting when it gets here.
yeah. I mean, it's like how art imitates real life. I see SCB as a art because the fighting side of things and the content creation side of things. And just in real life, boxing was ruling the 90s and early 2000s. And then now we got UFC, which is dominating right now. But boxing is making a little comeback thanks to
Yeah, thanks to
Turkey
Turkey
Alakish.
Allah
Yeah.
Sheikh,
Ali Sheik. Yeah.
his excellency. Yeah, shout out to him.
Hmm. You think we're ever going to get a Turkey Ali Quiche for SCB?
Well, I'm hoping to become that. I think
Oh,
Garza is also in the running for that. He wants to be throwing these Saudi events, Saudi like events, big fights on the card, up and down, where any fight could be the main event. With KOBK coming this summer.
yeah, yeah. Um, Talking about Garza, obviously we all fought on the same event, CQIF, and after that event, I saw that he was in your corner for Breakout 2. Did you guys talk and spark a type of connection after CQIF for him to be in your corner?
Well, for sure, I think the real spark was when after his fight on Breakout '05, after what happened, um, you know, I I was there for him, and I felt in that moment that you know we could be really, really good friends because I don't know, there was just something there for sure,
Yeah, yeah,
and then he ultimately ended up being in my corner about an hour later, even after what happened to him, and he had the whole team, smacking the canvas as they were
right,
announcing
yeah,
my
yeah.
name, walked me out. He was in my corner the entire time. And yeah, we grew a large bond that day. And he's definitely my best friend.
Yeah, 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 man. It's unfortunate how his fight ended. I was definitely Team Garza, and I don't know what's confirmed about the speculations of um, I forgot the dude's name, but he was on something. I don't know about that, but if that's true, put an asterisk in
Nope.
Garza's record, man.
Rob is very Sue happy, so I'm gonna say
Uh,
no
d-
comment.
I retract that statement. I retract that statement. But
But
uh,
everybody knows.
yeah. All right, let's get back to breakout boxing, man. That event, I was hyped for it. It was the super card of the SCB scene, and the first surprising thing of the night was that JDP performance. Did you watch that live, or were you in the locker rooms? And what was your reaction to all that?
It was right before my fight. but nonetheless, I was there to watch it. It was so important to me to be there because I discovered JDP when I reached out to him in April of 2024 to get him on the card. We had 13 followers at the time on Twitter, and nobody knew his name, and now everybody knew his name, and I knew that would happen. I saw the vision very early, almost a year ago, and we planted him in this scene, and he has grown like a flower, and he had a incredible performance to the point where you can ask Ran and some of the others. After I saw him knock out Jose, I ran to the back and just started weeping because
Damn.
this was just the most the most impactful thing I had done was put this guy in a position, on CQIF1, and then he put himself in a position to fight Jose, and it just such an incredible moment to have helped manifest that, and I'm so proud of JDP and Garza for
Yeah.
just the work they've put in. And they most recently had a rematch today, which I was able to commentate. It was on Twitter, just a little spar, but it was anything but little. It was they were going at it. So I would encourage everyone to go back and
Yeah. Yeah.
watch that. It'll be posted as well.
All right, I'll definitely look at that because their first fight was electric, man. It was just blows, no boring parts about that fight.
Yeah.
And I had JDP winning against Jose, but I don't think anyone expected that. That was insane.
Yeah.
I'm happy
He
for
was
JDP.
he was ruled out, he was overlooked, and you know, you can't do that with JDP. And I knew that going in. I knew exactly what would happen. And it was so beautiful to witness.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's talk to your fight on that. What was it like? What was the build up like before walking into the ring? In the ring, what was your mindset during the whole fight?
So for those 3 months of build up, it was the most intense thing I'd ever been through, just every day being pushed to get better in terms of physically and in terms of content wise. You really got to branch out and do everything you can. And there was points where the whole card was falling apart.
Yeah,
People were
pull
pulling out,
outs.
and I just took it upon myself to promote the shit out of that fight. And I don't think anyone's ever been looking forward to a fight as much as they looked forward to Pat versus Augustin. You know, like there were people that hated me saying, I can't wait for this fucking fight. And yeah, it was an incredible build up in terms of you know fight day. Fight day was great. I was really focused on you know Garza and JDP mostly, and their fights, and just trying to distract myself from everything. And you know, I obviously had the little scuffle the day before.
Yeah, that was
So
crazy. Hey, I
really,
respect you for standing on business, man.
yeah, man, you have to. You have to. When the cameras are on, whether you're about it or not, you got to stand on business.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what I did. So I was having to, ice my mouth for the whole uh the whole lead up to the fight, you know.
yeah. You got
And
stitches for
obviously
that,
I went to
right?
the ER.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the ER right after, still in my sauna suit and everything, sweating my ass off. Yeah, they made us wait like 3 hours,
Damn.
but finally they got us in and pumped my mouth full of lidocaine, which is like a numbing agent.
Yeah, yeah.
Then they put about 10 or 11 stitches in there, and we went back to the content house, back to the breakout house, and filmed the face off that you can watch on YouTube. And obviously, me and Vopfi made up there, and I just focused on recovery until my fight the next day.
To
So
the fight.
you know, regaining the weight, um, as well as you know, icing my face and just trying to get into the mindset of I gotta
Yeah,
fight, I
yeah.
gotta fight. So, and then in the fight, man, I remember in the first 10 seconds just thinking, "Oh my God, I am fighting Pat Pollution. It's happening." Like I'm in there,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
actually fighting him, and I was just like, "This is fucking awesome." It's
I
something
was
I
being
had
in the moment,
visualized in
yeah.
my head for forever, for over a year. I wanted this fight, and so it was very surreal. Yeah, very surreal.
For real. Uh, I have a question. When you're in fights or against your fighting for Pat, was because personally for me, when I'm in a fight mode or if I'm even watching a video of myself fighting, my heart starts boom, 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 boom. Is it like that for you?
No, I find that the closer I get to the fight, the more confident I feel. Um, the nerves go away. Like on fight day, I wasn't nervous. I was just ready, and I think you just kind of got to be born with that or not. It's just one of those things. Even just had my shirt off. I was about to walk out, and I just felt numb. I felt nothing at all.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty fucking crazy. And I'm not trying to like brag or anything, or be like that guy. But to answer your question, honestly, no, I didn't feel a thing. I was ready to get in there and do what I came there for.
Man, you're lucky because like when I was younger, I used to get in fights at school all the time, and that never happened to me. But walk like literally, I remember it was the ref or the security guy in the back was like, "All right, 5 minutes." And like when I was warming up and everything, I was not nervous at all. I was excited. I was like, "Let's get it."
Yeah,
Then when he said that, boom, 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 boom. Then finally, when
yeah,
the first
yeah,
bell rung, it stopped. But like that
yeah,
feeling, I hate that feeling. And even now, I get that feeling when I look back at my fight and watch it, or even my walkout song. I don't know.
yeah,
It's like I guess adrenaline, but it's like I
yeah.
hate the
So I'll
feeling, but
say
I
this.
love it.
I'll give you this. You feel alive for sure.
Yeah,
The only time I was nervous in any of my fights was actually the same moment at CQIF when they said, "Okay, you're up next." Right then, oh
it's
man,
a mode. It's a
I,
switch.
yeah, yeah. And until like literally until I hit the doors to see the crowd, as soon as I walked through the doors and saw the crowd and the smoke, I was good, totally good. But the walk from the locker room to the entrance, yeah, I was pretty damn nervous. You start breathing heavy. Just it was such a big environment, like such a great venue, and you know, it was an incredible feeling. But yeah, heart pounding for sure because I knew Trey was gonna bring everything, dude. He's a big country southern motherfucker, man, and
Yeah,
I
he
was gonna
just eats
have to.
everything.
Yeah, and at that point, I had never won a fight, you know, and I was about to do something against a guy who'd been doing it his whole life. And so I was definitely nervous in for 5 minutes to fight Trey. It was just before the fight happened. But like I said, as soon as I saw the crowd as I walked through those doors, it's just like I felt like I was in a movie and I was where I needed
Yeah,
to be. The closer I got to the ring, the octagon, the more confident I felt, you know.
yeah. That movie part, you're definitely right about that because I remember the lights walking out, then literally the music just. I felt like I was in one of the Creed or Rocky movies. Shit, it got me hype. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah. That was
But
an incredible day.
back to CQIF, because I know a bunch of fighters didn't like the commentators because they were shit talking the content creators that were fighting.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because I think you said something to them, but I never looked deep into it. What's your official statement about that?
So the reason they were hating so much, and this is why I felt so bad, is because Juice James was on commentary, who I was scheduled to fight in 2023.
Ah,
And obviously the fight fell through because my flight got canceled while I was halfway there. So I flew all the way to Nevada, then was going to fly to Florida, but plane got canceled. Everybody knows the story. So he had a personal grudge against me, as deservedly so. I had talked a lot of shit to him, and it was a good build up. But for him to take that out on the fighters, it's very fucked up. And
Yeah.
I didn't feel good about it at all. Because it's one thing to shit talk me, but these guys didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I reached out to Vigilant and they gave him a spanking.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
They gave him a good talking to, put him in the corner for a while. So, in the next events, forever, he will never have that tone in his voice. He will never
Yes,
spit
sir.
that sort of venom. I'll make sure of it. I made sure of it. And now I'm very looking forward to seeing how good of a boy he's going to be.
Yes, sir. Hey, people out there, Augustine stands on business. But
100%, man. You can go at me all you want. You said you watched my fight against Julian De La Rosa. He was commenting that as well, talking shit the whole time. And I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't reach out to Vigilant. Of course, it's just me you're talking shit about. But if you're talking shit to all these influencers, ruining their walkouts,
yeah,
like, dude, what are you doing, man? It's crazy. So I had a big fucking problem with it,
yeah.
and I made sure to deal with it.
Because I remember before me and Pineda were about to walk out, they're like, these guys look like they've never done anything athletic in their life, blah blah blah. And while the doctor was checking my injury in the octagon and stuff, checking if I was okay, he was saying, "Yeah, this is what happens when you've never done anything athletic in your life." Like, bro
Yeah,
doesn't know me.
it's
Like,
completely unprofessional. The only one that was good was obviously Camden Betting House. Shout out to Camden.
yeah, Cam,
He
shout
did
out
an
him.
excellent job at commentating, and he even interjected a few times and told them, "Hey, they're influencers, they're small creators. At least they're putting their lives on the line." Blah blah blah. So shout out to Camden.
Yeah, the only thing, like, I don't care if he says I was a bad fighter, blah blah blah, this and that. Just that him making the presumption that I'm unathletic and never done anything athletic. My whole life, I've done sport. I've played basketball. I've played football. I did Muay Thai when I was younger, then transitioned to boxing. Man,
Yeah,
my
like
mama
you
just
said,
cooks good. I just eat good.
it was a presumption. He knew nothing
Yeah,
about you, and so that's very unprofessional.
yeah,
But I was glad to see him get reamed.
yes. So let's get back to the breakout boxing. And out of all the pullouts and everything, the thing I was most disappointed about was the DDK and Pineda match getting canceled. What's your views on that? What's your opinion?
Well, I think that Pineda should have accepted the new hand wraps earlier, as soon as it was offered. But to be fair to him, he had been through a lot that weekend. They told him that I saw the negotiations chat. In the chat, when they were first setting up the fight between DDK and Pineda, the weight said 200 plus. Okay, it
Fair.
didn't say 200 to 245. It said 200 plus. And so Pineda came in at 255, and didn't know, that it was the max for heavyweight to get the belt was 245. And so he got the belt taken from him. After that happened, they reached out and said, "Hey, we're going to change it from 5 rounds to 3." Completely had to change his game plan. So he'd been dealing with a lot. Two things had gone catastrophically wrong so far: no belt and less rounds. Okay. So he's got all this in his mind, right? And then on the day of the fight, they tell him to change his hand wraps, which these hand wraps, as far as I know, and I've heard this from SOG Boxing himself, said that these are fine hand wraps. They're fine. They're okay for amateurs. They're okay to fight in. The only thing I've seen is that you might need to put wrapping over the hand wraps, those certain ones, because they have rubber on them.
Okay.
Um, that's all I've heard. After about 5 minutes after saying, "No, I'm not going to use these other hand wraps," right? Pineda said, "I'm not going to use the hand wraps you want me to use. I'm going to use mine." Um, 5 minutes later, we talked to Pineda, me and Vopfi, and a few others, and we say, "Hey, just take the hand wraps. Just do the hand wraps." And so he goes, "All right, I'll just do the regular hand wraps." and he goes back in. He agrees to use the regular hand wraps, and DDK wasn't interested anymore. He had gone from getting ready for a fight, DDK had, to now, getting his street clothes back on. Wasn't in the mindset. And personally, I think DDK should have just said, okay, let's get this and fought Pineda, especially after Pineda had agreed to use the regular hand wraps. Who knows what was in DDK's mind at the time? Maybe he had already flipped the switch off, right? To, okay, I'm not boxing anymore. But me, I would have fought. I would have fought still. If I was DDK, and I can't speak for him, but if I was DDK, I would have still fought. I would have said, okay, well, I'm a boxer. I can flip that switch right back on. And I understand it's hard. It's hard to switch that back on. But, we flew all the way out here. We came here for a job to do. We came here to put on a show for the people. They're expecting this fight. And now Pineda has agreed to do the hand wraps. Let's do this fight. That's what I would have done. But I'm not DDK. And so, but that's my thoughts on the entire situation.
Thank you for that, because I know there was a bunch of tweets. There's confusion everywhere. DDK dropped a video. Pineda said he was going to drop a video that never came. So I just wanted some behind the scenes view from what
Yeah,
happened.
a lot of people were calling Pineda a cheater. All this. No, dude. These raps that he was using, as far as I know, they are completely acceptable. But yeah, he's not a cheater. He's certainly not a cheater. But that's my view on the situation.
Okay, thank you for that. Obviously, you and Pineda are royalty promotion teammates, and so is Intrepid. And the top three fights of that card was pretty much royalty versus breakout. What was that energy? Was Did it feel like a
Yeah,
rivalry, like something?
definitely did. You know, we posted that picture of Proxy, myself, Pineda, and Intrepid, at the Olive Garden after the weigh-ins, and people were saying, "Hey, these three could beat the other three. Let's see what happens." It was definitely a rivalry because Royalty and Breakout were going back and forth, you know, weeks leading up to it, and yeah, that was definitely a card saver for sure. Breakout versus Royalty, just that aspect of it being
Yeah,
there was very important for this card. And people definitely tuned in to see which promotion would excel. And obviously, in this case, it was Breakout.
yeah. And man, it but each way, if y'all ran the fights 10 times again, I feel like it's 50-50. Could go either way again. But yeah.
I
Hey,
appreciate that input.
yeah. Also, shout out Proxy. His videos that he made after the event, that final video he dropped, the cinematic video. Not gonna lie, I teared up, and I don't
Yeah.
even feel like the music choice, the angles, the camera work, everything. So shout out Proxy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Shout out to Proxy. He's been dropping short films and little projects for a while now. And he's doing incredible work. And if you guys need someone to hire a videographer for your event, for your fight, anything, this guy is the man for that. He will pull up with his 8K camera and he will capture what there is to capture. So hit up Proxy.
Sir Proxy. Now back to the breakout event. Intrepid versus Lesera. Did that go as expected, or did you expect that?
Well, I didn't get to see it in person. I was recovering in the back,
Mhm.
trying to stop the bleeding, trying to find some bandages. But yeah, it didn't go as I expected. I thought it would go longer. I thought that it would be more of a close fight, but as we saw, it was not very close. And Lesra had really, really improved.
Whole
With
different
everything,
fighter.
even
Whole different fighter.
completely different fighter. Patient. His head movement was there. His shot selection was there. It was you know, interesting to watch. but I think Intrepid's next fight is going to be incredible. And he had the pressure of watching me lose, watching Pineda get his fight canceled. He had all that on his shoulders. Basically, it was up to him
In
to
Lesra's
bring
hometown
royalty a
too.
win.
Yeah, everything.
Exactly.
Cause
And yeah,
because I interviewed Intrepid the other day and we talked about this. I wanted him to win so bad, just for the simple fact that when I was trying to get the Lesnar fight, I was shit talking him. I said, "Oh," and it was right after the Iza fight too. I said, "You can't be no one your size, this and that, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Come on, Intrepid." And after the first knockdown, I said, "Intrepid, no!" My narrative against Pineda, not a Pineda, against Lesra was ruined. But
tell me about it. Yeah, I had several of my narratives ruined that night, so I
yeah,
completely understand.
yeah,
No passing of the torch, that was for sure.
yeah, man. Talking about passing of the torch. You inspired me for when I'm finally back, recovery, fully healthy. I want to take the Augustin steel path. I want that waffle fight. So after this or whatever, I'm gonna text you how you do it. I'm gonna get revenge for you. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get revenge for CQIF.
I
I'm
think
coming
that
for
would
the
be an
crown.
incredible fight. I asked him at the party afterwards. I said, "Hey, would you fight Stacks?"
He said, "Who?"
And he said, "Who?"
He know. Break
Yes,
him and
yeah.
Break. I know who I am. Him and Break. I know who I am.
I'll say this: he mentioned you a few times that night, unsolicited. So, I think you're definitely on his mind in
I'm
in
in
one
there.
way or another. So that's a fight I would love to see. Yeah, I would love to see that fight, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, because after I realized, because I remember I made a bet with Lesra on Twitter too. I was like, if Devin Haney somehow loses to Ryan Garcia, I'll stop calling you out. We all saw what happened to Devin Haney, bro.
Oh man.
So I was like, and I was shit talking Waffle before too, but Waffle never ever responded back to me ever. Never mentioned me on Twitter once. But hey, I guess he mentions me unsolicited, man. So hey, we in there. So Augustine, to end off the interview, who do you want next in the scene? Who do you want to fight?
I want to fight whoever gets me to Pat. I need that
A
rematch before I
rematch?
die. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad to have gotten in there. I'm glad to have gotten in there. But we've got some unfinished business, and I want to settle it.
Okay, okay. Yes, sir. Aye. The interview is finished. Augustine, shout out your socials. Shout out anything you want.
Follow me on social media at Augustin Siel, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, now that it's back. And watch CQIF2,
Yes, sir.
February 1st, live on Millions Co. pay per view. It's going to be a banger at the OCC Arena. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, and if you're in Florida, man, try to go watch it live. The atmosphere is insane,
Yep.
especially at that arena. I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Thank you for having me, Stacks, and I can't wait to see you back in the ring, man. But yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you for this interview. Thanks for having me.
It's been your boy Stacks888 and Augustin Siel, and bye.
Everyone subscribe to Stacks right now.